got a very special video for you guys today. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm Lizzie Peirce. I co-run a video production company with my fiance Chris Howe, who is going to be in today's video. I thought it would be super fun. If it's not even really a challenge, it's more just I thought it would be fun for you guys to watch Chris and I edit one of each other's photos. So that's what we're gonna do. Chris is monitoring the camera. He's right there. Do you wanna come in? Oh, he's bringing our special guest. He is a special guest, but then we also have another special guest. This is our cat, Luna. I don't know why that's relevant to this video, but it is. So here's Chris.
Hi everyone. I picked a photo for Lizzie to edit, and I hope she does a good job. Bye everybody.
Chris and I took each of these photos together, like we were at the same location. But you know, everybody has a different eye, everybody has a slightly different style. I'm really excited to edit one of these photos. Are you eating a cookie?
Yeah.
So right after I finish this cookie, we're gonna edit some photos. So, shall we? Do you wanna tell us a little bit about the photo you chose for us today?
Okay, the photo I've selected for Lizzie is a photo that we took in Alberta at Sunwapta Falls in Jasper. I don't know why I'm talking so presentery. It's also a really fun word to say, Sunwapta. Say that fast.
Sunwapta, Sunwapta,
Sunwapta, Sunwapta, Sunwapta, Sunwapta Falls. The nice thing about Alberta, it's one of those places where you can literally like drive into a location and walk 5 minutes from the parking lot and get epic photos. So this was actually a pretty easy photo to get. There's something about the colors where it's kind of turning into fall, but there's still some green. We did a long exposure so that like the waterfall looked more like milky and smooth and epic. So I'm interested to see what you can do, especially considering that the sky is a little blown out. So hopefully the raw file, you know, you can do something with it.
I remember that day and we struggled quite a bit to expose these properly because this whole waterfall was in the shadows predominantly. So I'll do my best. We'll see what I can get back. That's definitely something I'm gonna have to work on, but I can already see I wanna boost the colors. I wanna bring some blue back into that water, but I'm definitely gonna embrace the fall vibes of this photo.
Let's go.
All right, get out, don't peek. Well, normally, I'm not going to lie to you, I go through my presets, so just for fun, maybe just as a little experiment, I'll do this twice. So once using one of my presets and then another time, ooh, that's cool. So I use my presets and then I'll just do an edit from scratch. But I mean, there's a reason that I use my own presets. It's because it gets me pretty much where I want to be. Oh, somebody's really interesting. I'm bringing the whites down a bit because the preset is overexposed. And if you're wondering if this is a preset pack that you can get, why yes it is. It's my lunar pack, my most recent preset pack that I released. That's what I've been using on so many of my photos lately because I've been working on that pack for a year. Oh yeah, there's lots of detail in the sky I can get back. We're good. But overall, I'm finding this photo very green and very blue. So I might try adjusting the tint first, but I am gonna go down to split toning. That's where I'm getting a lot of that green. So let's just tone it back a little. What if I made, oh, interesting. So I adjusted the split toning a little bit, brought down a little bit of that green, but I really want the water to be more blue somehow. So what you can do is you can actually click this little button right here and drag it over the color you want to adjust, and it'll tell you what hue it is, whether it's green, aqua, blue, whatever. It looks like it's primarily green. So why don't I just try bringing that back? That's working a little bit, but you know what? It's still pretty greenish. So normally when I can't make that kind of change in the HSL panel, I will go to my brush tool. I'll just do it manually, you know? That's the kind of life we live. Sometimes I call it coloring. I go in and I just color it the color I want it to be. So let's try that. Now it looks still quite green. So we're gonna take out a little bit of the green with the tint, bring in a little bit of blue. Okay, we're getting there. Take down the saturation a bit because it started to look like a very strange color. So normally when I'm using the brush tool, I go in with the tint and I don't really select a color. Sometimes I do that. I prefer to do it this way. So I'm liking that so far, but I definitely want these colors to pop a little bit more. Bring up the vibrance a little bit, the saturation. Overall, I'm quite pleased so far. I want to see a little bit more of the texture in these rocks, so I might go in with the, start with the exposure, but I'm gonna make a custom brush. Bring up the clarity just right on those inside edges of the rock, because I still want to give this illusion that there's a bit of vignetting or shadowing on the outside of the frame to draw your eye inwards towards that waterfall and towards that center island here with the trees. So by not going all the way over to the edge of the rocks, I'm still kind of creating that effect to draw your eyes inwards. And then what I like doing lately is, again, to reinforce that effect, I'll go over some of the highlighted areas that the sun is catching with my brush. I actually don't like how much I added to the island, so I'll make a new brush just so it's not quite as intense of an effect. And then overall, I'm just gonna bring up the clarity a teeny tiny bit. Sometimes, I mean, I try to go in a particular order per photo, but when you're using a preset, I find I kind of have to go all over the place and make my adjustments. But if I'm starting from scratch, I do have a method in doing that. I might just darken the corners of the sky a little bit more. Now I feel like I'm just getting nitpicky. Yeah, so just for fun, let's make a copy of this, and we're going to reset the image and start from scratch and see if my edit from scratch looks different. I just thought that would be fun. So definitely I need to bring down the shadows a bit. You can already see how much more saturation in the colors I'm getting because I'm doing that. So I'm creating a little bit of an S-curve. Personally, I like to bring up the shadows a little bit to kind of flatten them out. It's just a look that I like, but it does depend on the photo. I don't always do that, but I find most of the time I do. And then same thing, I don't do this every time, but for this photo, I'm gonna start out by flattening the highlights a little bit, and I'm gonna bring the sky back in because that's bothering me and I just wanna do it right away. And now it's becoming a little bit of a moody photo. It might be fun to create a little bit of a different look. You can double click your exposure, your highlights, your shadows, and it'll auto-correct them for you. And it's just kind of interesting to see what it does. So it's kind of making these adjustments automatically. And sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. I usually just click through them to see what it does and whether I prefer that or not. Dude, it's actually getting kind of moody, but I'm into it. And sometimes I always find that I'll edit one photo one way and then I can go back the next day or a couple days later or even a year later. I'll do a completely different edit on it and give it an entirely different look. It's kind of the joy of raw photos. So I just adjusted the greens because there's a lot of green in this photo, and I made them a little bit more blue, desaturated them a bit. And it's not necessarily that when you're desaturating, you're removing the color. You are actually adjusting the tone of that color a little bit. Instead of it being a really vibrant green, it's a little bit more of a faded flat green. And now I'm going to actually remove some of that green tone from the water. So I'm kind of doing the complete opposite of what I just did in the last edit, but that's kind of fun. Because I feel like it makes it look like a swimming pool, that kind of green tone it has. So I'm gonna take a lot of that out so it looks just like washy white water. Actually gonna bring some shadows in, some clarity. This is good, this is looking good. A little bit of orange in this photo, so let's saturate that. Let's bring that in. Same thing with the yellow. And luminance does that very well. It can either make it look like there's a lot of sun hitting the tops of the trees or not at all. Adding a little bit of luminance is giving the trees a bit more dimension, so I think I'll keep that. And same thing, I'm gonna go in with the brush tool and do the same thing with the rocks in the front here that I did in the last photo. I want to see what it looks like if I add a little bit of blue in the shadows. Okay, so that's before and after of my edit from scratch, and this is before and after of the one using my preset. They're both very different. I actually think I like the one I did from scratch better now. Becky from Becky and Chris swears by not using presets, but sometimes I just think they're a nice way to start a photo and start an edit. In this case, I like the one I did without the preset a lot more. So what does that tell you, Chris?
Hey, that looks so good.
You like it?
Is that your, which edit is it?
This is the one I used with my preset.
Yeah, that looks great.
But then I did a second version that I did from scratch.
Yeah.
Which is this.
That's cool too.
I know, this one's a little moodier.
I like both for different reasons.
Because after looking at the one I did from scratch, don't you hate this one more? I like the moody one more, I think.
Yeah, the moody ones, it just looks cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one.
Yeah.
Next up, Chris Howe's edit.
Lizzie picked this photo of me in Alberta, because Alberta's the jam. I'm standing with my old hair. Wow. R.I.P. Let's do this. We're gonna do the same thing that Lizzie did, where we're gonna use a preset first, see what kind of a vibe we're going with here, and then we're gonna go and try to do an edit. So let's create a virtual copy. Boop. Virtual copy over here. Let's go into an edit. Let's just kind of look and see what type of vibe we're thinking about over here. Oh, that looks kind of cool. Bonfire. They're already looking pretty cool. Looks sad. Should I go into the edit later and make myself smile? That's what I'm gonna do. Kind of getting like a bit of a vibe for stuff here. Not every preset looks good. Just feeling it out and see if any of these ones look good over here. It's kind of cool. It's a little desaturated, but kind of into it. So what I like doing with the saturation is I like seeing which colors are being impacted by moving the slider all the way to the top and then pulling it back. It's kind of like a nice thing is like maxing out the colors and then pulling it back. So obviously that impacted the skin tones too much, but I'm kind of feeling that. Let's bring a bit of that blue back in, but not too much. Nice thing is press Option while you're going over sharpening. You can see how much is being impacted. All right, I'm just gonna go quiet for a second because I don't need to talk through this, and you're just gonna see a speed edit of this going down. I'm calling it now that Lizzie's gonna have a better edit than me. Just saying. You know when you've had too much coffee and then you actually feel tired from the coffee? That's me right now. Okay, let's just see something. All right, let's try an edit without using presets. Lightroom always adds so much saturation. It's like, you don't know, bro. You don't know what I like. Why you do this? Getting your style is so hard. Like, editing, every photo is so different, every environment creates so many different things. I'm gonna do my very best. It's cool how you can sometimes just do like one thing and it can like bring the photo all the way together, which is nice. This is distracting over here, gonna get rid of it, la la la. Okay, so I am just feeling out certain colors. I'm playing around here, getting rid of some stuff on my face. I'm also crushing the black. So what I do is like, I like to lift the shadows, but I like to crush the blacks at the same time. So I'm like creating a bit more dynamic range in this photo, but I'm making sure that the blacks look a little bit more crushed. That's just cause like, that's the look that I like. In regards to this here, I'm gonna like brighten my hair to make it pop a little bit more, since I have dark hair, but I have little like light blonde streaks in there. I think I can make them pop just a touch more by bringing up the shadows as well as the exposure on it so that it looks a little bit lighter, so that it helps pop on the screen a little bit more. And one thing is like, again, what I was talking about there, when I would pull the saturation all the way to the top, it's the same with exposure. You make it all the way to the top and you're like, wow, that looks horrible. Let's just pull it back until it looks natural and it looks good. So to me, that's looking not bad. You always wanna make sure that when you do this, you don't do it too much so that the masking in the area that you selected is bleeding too much into the other areas. So what I like to do is show selected mask and make sure that it's not bleeding too much, because then it looks like you've made adjustments there, especially with exposure. So I like to toggle the show selected mask overlay on and off. So as you can see, I missed it here. So by pressing Option, I can get rid of it. Also, if you press Command on Mac, it will fill in the areas that you specifically want, and it will do its best to like mask around the edges, which is always a nice little tip. I look good with red hair. Let's leave it. So that still looks a little bright. This is coming together. It's a vibe. I'm into it. I find with portraits, I don't like boosting the clarity too much. That's just me personally. I might try to desaturate this sky a little bit more. I'm not crazy about that blue. It looks better when it's like that and you can focus on the person. Maybe we can try bringing the spotlight in on this. All right, let's play around with this HSL here, the hue, saturation, and luminance area / also known as color. Select all of them, and let's just kind of play around with some of these dials to see what results we get. That aqua on the lake looks a little nicer when it's greener, so I'm gonna pull that back a bit. At the same time, I wanna make it super saturated. Some luminance, some light to that face. Almost done here. I actually like the profile corrections off personally. Ooh, this might look good with some green. May post this photo later because I'm digging its vibe. I'm happy with that. Again, you know, preset, I thought that looked good, but honestly, my edit without a preset, much happier with, kind of like in Lizzie's case. So I'm almost there. It's funny when you look back at the other preset, you're like, actually that photo looks like garbage. So don't always use presets. They can be good about getting you there, and they're very helpful to get like an idea of a look, but it's nice to practice the skill set yourself. And she's done. Do you want to see the photos?
I do want to see the photo. Oh!
Do you like?
I do like it. The water's so blue, but I'm into it.
It's like a greeny blue.
Yeah, it's like a greeny blue.
Yeah.
See, and I don't think I would have done that with that photo.
Yeah.
I made it as greeny. Did you color it?
No.
I always say color.
No, that was the before.
Oh!
That's after.
Oh, it's like a teal and orange vibe.
Yeah, I'm into it.
I like it.
Thanks, same.
I
really like it a lot. And this was the I picked a preset, which is like,
Oh, I like that too, though.
yeah, it's nice. It's
I would
different.
have just made you brighter.
Yeah, I didn't
You're
spend a
really
lot of time
black.
on the preset one. I spent more time on this one.
I don't know, I kind of like your preset one better, to be honest.
Really? I
And
know.
that's why a lot of this is personal taste,
Yeah.
too, and why you could make adjustments to the same photo and perfect it forever, and that's why my presets took a year to build.
Yeah, they're both cool for different reasons.
Great job.
Thanks.
Was it fun?
Yeah, I loved it. This was nice to like play around with these. We need to go back and edit these photos so
I know,
badly.
we have so many photos. And now, just a quick moment to talk about today's sponsor, Storyblocks. So having sponsors like Storyblocks is what allows me to keep making content for you guys on this channel. So I really want to thank them for sponsoring this video and for supporting this channel. So here's the deal with Storyblocks. You're getting studio quality stock footage clips for one price, and a very low price at that. You're getting unlimited downloads from their member library, that's HD and 4K clips, motion backgrounds, After Effects templates, and so much more. I'm always reaching to Storyblocks for my projects, and if you didn't already notice, I've actually used a few of their clips in this video for some of the titles and transitions. All of Storyblocks content is royalty free, so you can use this for both your corporate projects and your YouTube videos, for example, which works out great for me. Don't waste any time, guys. Sign up for the unlimited membership with Storyblocks. It's one low cost and you're getting unlimited downloads. I can't recommend it enough. New clips are always added regularly, so it never gets old. There's always something fresh for you guys to download, so make sure you check out the link in the description box below to check out Storyblocks. And thanks Storyblocks for sponsoring this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks Chris for being in the video and doing the edits with me. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, so please make sure you like this video, and if you liked it, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the bell to get notified when I post new videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Now we're gonna go cuddle, because it's Sunday.